I'm the French-Canadian sensation from the official GonnaGeek.com podcast, a proud member of the GonnaGeek network, just like the one you're listening to now. The opinions expressed are those of each individual. Check out all other geeky podcasts at GonnaGeekNetwork.com and get ready, because geekiness begins in 3, 2, 1.
You have been granted clearance by Director Phil Coulson. Stand by for S.H.I.E.L.D. debriefing. All information to be discussed here is classified and may only be discussed among agents granted clearance by the S.H.I.E.L.D. Director.
Now it's time for your scheduled debriefing. I'm Agent Stargate Pioneer.
I'm Agent Haley.
And I'm Agent Warner.
Welcome to Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., a Marvel Comic Universe podcast. This is podcast number 107 on Agent Carter Season 2, Episode 6, Life of the Party, and Agent Carter Season 2, Episode 7, Monsters. This podcast is recorded on Wednesday, February 17th, 2016. Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a fan-based podcast on the ABC television show Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Marvel's Agent Carter, Marvel's Daredevil, and Jessica Jones on Netflix, and the general Marvel comic universe.
Because of F's that stand for freedom.
If you'd like to talk to us about F's, freedom, or, well, anything else that starts with F's. Yeah, other F things. You can get a hold of us at our website, legendsofshield.com. You can get a hold of us at our voicemail, 844-THE-BUS-1. That's 844-843-2871. We have a Facebook, Twitter, a Tumblr, and a YouTube, all Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. And you can find our network at GonnaGeek.com.
This time on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., we're going to be talking about the last week of our Guardians of the Galaxy crate giveaway. We're going to be talking about Agent Carter doubleheader, Life of the Party, and Monsters. We're going to be talking about Agent Haley's little foray to talk about time dilation issues. We're going to be talking about the weekly Marvel news and your feedback. So this is the last week to enter into the Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy Collector Core crate, right, Haley?
That's right, and it's some pretty sweet swag that you're going to want to get in on, and you can do that by sending us your idea for the next Stark Menagerie Animal Edition. We know there's Bernard Stark, the flamingo, and we need to know what other animals Howard Stark has acquired.
We know there's the vicious koala, the one that they have to trank dart.
Yes. So there's Bernard Stark, there's Edward the Spider Monkey, somebody tried a Jeffrey Stark, or a Joffrey Stark, if you will. What was the animal for that? I can't remember. It was a goat. And yes. So that is your entry. So right now, Christy, at Adana Girl on Twitter, is the one in the lead. So to beat her, you got a mountain to overcome. Adana Girl, this could be your item. All right. So, Haley, last week, you decided, with all of the things going on in the Marvel Universe, talking about timey-wimey sort of things, you decided to check something out last weekend, didn't you?
Yeah, I decided to go to probably the biggest Doctor Who convention and discuss comic books there.
As you do.
Well done. Yes. Well done.
Represent. I did a panel while I was at Gallifrey 1, which is a Doctor Who convention in LA. They have it every February. And I was there with my fellow co-hosts.
Oh, Haley, you just lost connection again. She is having problems with her Chrome. And
Google hates me.
Okay, now we hear you.
So you were there with your co-hosts.
Who shall remain nameless, apparently.
His name cannot be spoken, apparently. So I was there with Keir Hansen of Gallifrey Public Radio fame, and we milled about and discussed Doctor Who and such, but I also was on a panel called Marvel in the 1970s, DC in the 1980s, The Best Decades, ? Paul Cornell.
Yeah.
Paul Cornell moderated the panel. He wrote a bunch of Doctor Who comics and I believe a couple episodes of Doctor Who.
Nice.
And
Yes.
also on the panel there was Marv Wolfman, Arn Starr, and Scott Tipton.
Marv Wolfman was at the very first convention I ever went to.
Really?
Oh.
Yep.
Do you remember what he talked
AggieCon 32.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
And what everyone here knows that the people viewing this panel doesn't know is that I faked my way through that whole thing because I have not read 70s Marvel or 80s DC.
Nice. Way to go, Haley.
Yep.
All right, and for those of you that don't know, we are usually on Blab. We have transitioned to Geeks.live tonight, which is actually every time that we're live, you can catch us. But since we're not on Blab, you can catch the chat at Geeks.live. There is a chat wing there. Just sign in via Twitter or Facebook, or if you have a chat wing account, and we will talk to you there. It's actually how we used to roll here before we went to Blab. So there you go. So I just had to get that out because it actually came up live as we're podcasting. Our network owner is awesome, and he set us up. So thank you very much, Stephen. But to get back to the panel, so what was the most memorable moment of you BSing your way through it?
Well, at the very beginning of the panel, I kicked over Arn Starr's coffee, so that happened. They did this thing where the microphone with the longest cord was not at the end, so like I reached for the microphone next to me and it had no cord left, so I went to, and then I was like, oh well, I gotta slide over so I can use a microphone and not shout across the room, and I kicked over his coffee. It was an accident. I didn't do it on purpose.
You're
Sorry.
not supposed to have coffee on stage, right?
Says who?
Well,
You're not a supervisor.
Somebody's got to clean. Somebody's got to pay for that carpet.
Dude, it's hotel floor carpet. I'm pretty sure there's worse things on it than coffee.
That's true.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, so what were the general discussions that you guys had?
We talked a little bit about changes. I mean, there was a topic to it, but it really just kind of was became a topic of comic book discussion in general for DC and Marvel. So we talked a little bit about the evolution of the comics from the 60s to the 70s and the 70s to the 80s and what changed in the rules of comic book writing and that kind of stuff that allowed new stories to take place and why they would be considered the best decades.
All right. So was everybody in agreement?
No, I mean, we didn't really, send out a decree about what we actually thought was the best decade. We just kind of, discussed comic books. It was fun.
Yeah.
I see. Would you do it again?
Yeah. Maybe next time I'll even have read more of the comics.
Next time you'll actually be up to 1970 in the comics.
I am almost done with 1970.
Looking for that 71.
Woot.
All right. Well, that is awesome. And we have a host of different panels coming up. First of all, I want to say that on March 18th, myself, Naki from All Things Good and Nerdy, Chris Farrell from All Things Good and Nerdy, Nerd Alert News, and GonnaGeek, Willie Nelson from All Things Good and Nerdy, and Cody Goff as Stephen Wander.
Verified Cody Goff?
Yeah, the verified Cody Goff, as Stephen John Drew always says, is going to be there as well. And there might, we don't have confirmation yet, but there might be a sixth panel member. Dun, dun, dun.
Is it
Like
a
when
ground
the Green
meat
Ranger
product?
showed up on Power Rangers.
Is it a what product?
Is it a meat product by chance?
There might have something to do with meat with it, but we don't want to give too much away. We're trying to tease right now.
Just teasing.
So
Just
we
the
will.
tip.
Just the tip.
I've been watching a lot of Archer lately.
Good decision.
Right.
Good life choices.
So over the next month, we'll just talk about some con appearances that are coming up. So of course there was Gallifrey Public Radio at Gallifrey 1 last weekend. Kier and Haley went to that, and Kier also does In Defense Of, by the way, in addition to Gallifrey Public Radio. So Peter Melnick from Audibly Exquisite. It's a new podcast on the network. If you haven't caught it, do so. I will warn you, since we're a clean podcast, it is an explicit podcast, so you might hear some swearing, but that's okay. We're okay with that on GonnaGeek. So it is March 5th, and that will be Big Apple Con. And of course, I mentioned C2E2 on March 18th. The C2E2 runs the whole weekend. We will be Friday afternoon at 2:45. Regeneration Who, Kier will be at that con at the same time we're at C2E2. And then Lauren Labrat will be at EggyCon on March 1st through the 3rd.
April 1st. April 1st through
April,
3rd.
That's right. April 1st through the 3rd, which there might be a panel involved in that. We will get back to you as soon as we can. And then Peter Melnick, again from Audibly Exquisite, will be at East Coast Comic-Con on April 16th and 7th. And then Kier, again, he is just the con-going freak. He'll be at Long Island Geek on April 2nd through the 6th. And I might have those dates wrong. We will double check them. But that is what Kier is going to be at.
Must be nice to be in a place with a bunch of cons.
It really is.
I know. C2E2 will be a first for me. It will be the first smaller con that I've gone to. My initial con was San Diego Comic-Con in 2011.
That is a horrible first con.
It was actually cool because of the people I was with, but I will never go back. I will never go back because they made it into the juggernaut and they made it impossible to get tickets and everything. So I just, unless I am there for a reason, I will not be going there. So anyway,
honestly, it seems terrifying.
I mean, if you are there with friends, you're spending time with friends, right? But the floor is just huge.
It's like the population of a city crammed into there.
It is. I think they clocked in at like 250,000 people in San Diego.
Okay, so I grew up in a town with 20,000 people in it.
I grew up in a town with 800 people in it.
Oh, wow.
There might be 20,000 people in Hall H from time to time, even though it's supposed to only seat like 8,000 or something like that. Anyway, so there are lots of opportunities to catch GonnaGeek members. We will be publishing an entire list as we sort of solidify it for 2016, but this is the start of con season. And thank you very much, Haley, for telling us about your wonderful comics in the 70s and 80s at Gallifrey 1, which is a Doctor Who convention.
Ooh, we also went to a really cool science panel about exoplanets.
Nice.
How was that?
That was good. Bat astronomer Phil Plait was on the panel, and some other people.
I have yet to meet him in person, but we've crossed paths a few times. We just like been in the room next door. It's like, oh, Phil. Anyway,
it was cool. It's good.
It's like science fangirling, right? Oh, wow.
All right, it looks like our chat room is starting to fill up, so thank you guys for finding us here. But in the meantime, we're going to move on to the main event. All right, we got not one, but 2 episodes of Agent Carter. The first one was Life of the Party. It was directed by Craig Zisk, and we talked about him last week. He's got a bunch of cred behind him. And the episode was written by Eric Pearson. Do either of you ladies have any history with Eric?
I mean, not personally. I've never met him, but...
He's got some Marvel cred, too.
Oh, yes. He did a bunch of the one-shots. Mm-hmm. He did The Consultant, A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to Thor's Hammer, Item 47, Agent Carter. Well, he wrote all of them, so yeah, that's...
Right. I mean, lots of good stuff there. And then Monsters. Oh my gosh, Lauren, please help me out.
Oh, wow. Directed by, and I know I'm going to get this wrong because there's an umlaut in it, and I'm not good at pronouncing, like... Okay. Metin?
I want to say Hussein. Metin Hussein, I think.
I want to say that with an umlaut, it's pronounced
Hussein?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Anyway, Metin Hussein, I think. and I'm sorry if I got your name wrong. We will check afterwards, and I will
We
correct
know
myself.
we got your name wrong.
We
Don't
know
worry.
we got the name.
Okay.
wrong, and
So
we're
he
very
directed it.
sorry.
And it was written by Brant Egelstein. But let's go back to Medin and let's look at his IMDb. And wow, look at that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, he directed a few episodes of Outlander. He did Borgia. Let's see if this is the good Borgia, the other Borgia.
Right.
No, this is the other Borgia.
Lot.
Uh,
Yeah, just a lot of directing. Looks pretty consistent basically since 1981. And
I have
then
some episodes of Merlin.
yeah. And then Brant Eggleston, he wrote again Borgia, and he wrote an episode of Copper.
Hey, Copper.
Mhm.
I liked that show. I'm
Right.
just sad that it didn't get like a good proper ending.
But guess what? Brant is also a producer of Agent Carter, so go figure, right?
And
So
the other Borgia.
that is your, and you know, these two episodes were great back to back because it was kind of a continual story. So I'm glad they did them back to back like they did. But I would have still preferred an extra week, you know. Just saying, I like one episode a week. That's what I like. Okay. So there's a lot to talk about, a ton to talk about. We're going to talk about both episodes together. Now, let's try something new tonight. Like we're trying something new with Hangouts on Air, even though I think we've done this before, but we're back to
Been a
Hangouts
while.
on Air just because Blab is broken for the night. So let's start out talking about Jason Wilkes. Lauren, what do you want to say about Jason?
I feel so bad for him. I mean, the guy spent pretty much every episode, I mean, with the exception of 1.5, incorporeal. He keeps seeing this weird nightmare zero matter realm. He wants to get with Peggy real bad, but he's incorporeal. He wants them to help him out, but they keep running around doing other stuff. He wants to do science, but he can't pick things up. It's just like that's got to be just the most frustrating thing. And then yeah, it's like his entire character is driven by frustration. Especially when you get there's a speech that Whitney gives him in this episode, and that kind of even drives the point more home. It's like there's all this stuff that you want to do, and there's just all these bars in your way. And yeah, for him, for this whole series, pretty much, it's been because, he's incorporeal. But then even more so, it's because of societal barriers. And I mean, it's one of those things where if he does end up, going supervillain or something, I wouldn't blame him. Just, I mean, that much sheer built-up frustration. I mean, every now and then, especially with access to zero matter, I mean, maybe, I'm not saying it's justified, I'm saying I'd understand it.
Oh, it's so cool. So he sucks the zero matter out from Frost. It's mine. And then he becomes...
What did he do again?
Ew.
Cool.
and he becomes solid, and he gets out of the Jason in a box.
Put your Jason in a box.
Oh my god.
So, yes, the whole 2 episodes were about getting the zero matter so Wilkes could become solid, and then they had to go back and get Dottie because she was part of the Wilkes thing, and Peggy felt responsible and whatever. And we'll talk about Peggy and Dottie in a second, but let's stay on Jason for a second. So he's talking with Anna. He's giving advice to Anna. Anna is obviously just freaking out this episode, which I didn't peg her like that. I didn't peg her as the docile home type. I thought she was going to roll with the punches sort of thing. But that's how they brought her off. And Wilkes was there. He got to eat. He got a change of clothes, right? And then he gets kidnapped by Frost. So the dude's been through a ton. Don't forget the kiss. He kisses Peggy.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. So, okay, all that goes, and as you were saying, Lauren, he is definitely affected by a ton of stuff, and he is kind of, there's a lot of heartbreak this season, but I think he's the biggest heartbreak because of what's happening to him.
You know, whatever happens, it's going to be sad. And when I was watching, actually, did y'all ever watch Being Human, either the U.S. or the U.K. version?
I watched a little bit of the U.S. version. Yeah.
Okay, so they make a point of saying, like, you know, the clothes that you die in are the clothes you're going to be wearing for the rest of eternity. And in the U.S. Being Human, spoilers, one of the ghost character comes back to life briefly, and when she knows she's dying again, she's like, okay, and this is what I'm going to wear now, because I was really tired of those other clothes. So when he got his new suit, that was the first thing I was thinking of. He's like, it's like, okay, so is this the suit he's going to be wearing from now on? And then when they busted in, I was like, oh no, now this is the suit he's going to die in.
Yeah.
But that didn't quite happen. It's a
Well,
suit that he got kidnapped in.
Right. I mean, he could change clothes now, too. And let's not forget, he was freaked out in both episodes. They made a point of stating it again in both episodes, and he said it before. He is freaked out about whatever's on the other side of that zero matter. He does not want anything to do with it.
And again, it's one of those things where I think the show is really smart. Marvel has been really smart about this, comparing and contrasting their villains and their heroes. You see Whitney and him, they're so much alike in so many ways. They're both brilliant, and they're both undervalued by society. And now they both have the zero matter, like, connection. Whereas Whitney is, like, drawn to it and wants to experiment with it and wants its power, and she's embracing it. You have Jason, who's, I mean, he's you know, physically pulling it out of her when she tries to absorb it through him, and he's terrified of it. It's horrific for him, and yeah, it's just, they're so similar and yet so different.
And he is trying to deal with it, and he's trying to apply some science, and he's just he is in the middle of a big war, and he doesn't want anything to do with it, but he's trying to do it smartly. He's trying to play it to the good side, but there might be something with Frost there, because Frost is an incredible mind, and he doesn't have Stark with him right now, so he's gone to the next level. He needs to figure out what that means and what can keep him on this side of that zero matter line. So Haley, what's your take on Jason this episode?
I mean, I almost thought, well, no, I guess that was Anna. I watched all the episodes really close together.
Yeah, because you had 4 episodes.
Yeah, I had to make up for some episodes I missed last week. I did like the parallels they drew between him and Madam Mask, Whitney Frost.
Mm-hmm.
Because it you know, that is a parallel then and less so now, but you know, both of them are not going to have the opportunities they should, and they're rightfully a little bit bitter about that.
Right. So we're just touching upon a little bit of what's going on because we're concentrating on Jason. We'll get to some of the side effects, so the global effects in a second. But the next character that we're going to talk about is Whitney Frost. And oh my, she comes out strong, doesn't she, Haley?
She's the big bad.
She's
so evil, she absorbs all of the other evil in the room.
She does, and she continues her war on lab rats. What's up with that? She hates them.
No.
She could soak up anything. She could soak up alligators. She could soak up snakes. But lab rats. She's got to go with the lab rats.
So many lab rats die in pursuit of science every year.
And apparently so many with Whitney Frost as well.
Yeah, like, does she get a discount on, like, bulk orders or something? Well,
she had a bunch ordered to her to begin with, so I think this might have been the last one. I don't know. I didn't count how many that she had delivered to her. But she had a lab rat also living with her by the name of Calvin, and Calvin is no more.
I gotta say, I was a little happy about that because, well, first of all, he's a jerk. And secondly, I mean, again, with the relatable villains things, I felt so bad for her. Like, here she is. She's like, look, you guys, aren't you proud of me? Look at, like, all I've done to help you. And this is the answer to all of our problems. Aren't I a valuable person in your evil schemes? And they're terrified of her, and her own husband turns her in. And just that look of betrayal on her face. So yeah, she takes him out because he was the person that she trusted most in the world. And oh, he just stabbed her in the back. I mean, it was pretty awful.
Yeah, right. But we called it a couple weeks ago.
We
Calvin
did
was not
totally
going.
call it, but still, it's just the way that they played it. There was this just vulnerability in her face and everything, and it was heartbreaking. It really was. And I know she's a bad person. I know she kills a bunch of lab rats, and I know she absorbs everybody in the room, and I know that she had, what's her name, Jane Scott killed, but I still feel so bad for her.
Well, because in that moment, she wanted to believe that somebody was finally recognizing her for all that she's done, all that she can do, and then just to be betrayed like that. Ugh.
No,
It was
really
heavy betrayal. And did Calvin get what was coming to him? I
Yes.
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he used her. They were both using each other, but he was perfectly willing to just throw her away when, things got tough like that. Not to mention the fact that
wasn't
he cheated
something
on
he
her
could
past.
control anymore.
Yes. When he wasn't the one in control anymore.
Right, or perceived control, because I don't think he was ever in control. She was manipulating left, right, and
Oh
backwards.
yeah.
But
No,
as far as what he saw, he was the one in control, and now he couldn't tell himself that anymore because she's obviously the one with all the power.
Mm-hmm. And now she, kind of. I love when she absorbs half of that council, and
I know.
then Ray Wise is like, "I just want to say something. It's a pleasure working with you," and blah blah blah.
Hail to the leader.
Yeah, hail to the queen.
It was awesome. Frost is boss. That's what I've got in my notes.
Okay, yes. Can we make buttons that say that?
Frost is boss? Yeah, that's why.
It works
Hashtag
on
Frost
so
is
many levels. It
boss.
works for Whitney Frost. It works for Emma Frost. I mean, I haven't watched Arrow in a while, but does it work for Caitlin Frost too?
Not really.
You'd have to actually go over to the Flash universe for that right now, but yeah, eventually we'll get there.
Ooh.
I know.
Yeah, if we could have done like a 3 for 3, that would have been amazing.
That would have been amazing. Okay, so Frost also manages to coop up Dottie.
Yeah, that was. I mean, when you're feeling, sympathy for Whitney, then she goes and does that to Dottie, and
Okay. Hold your thoughts on Dottie for a second, so that we'll have a whole section on Dottie. I know this is all mismatched together, but it's just important that she has captured Dottie, and that is something that is hard to do to begin with, right?
Yeah, and she actually scares Dottie, which is even harder to do.
I know.
Yeah, I was gonna say because even Peggy could catch Dottie.
It was
Nobody
like
has
zero matter waterboarding there. It looked like it was pretty awful.
Okay, so we'll save the rest of the Dottie conversation for later. But for right now, the whole tortured Dottie scene, like she's classic Red Room woman, right? She's like, yeah, I pulled out my own teeth, I pulled out my fingernails, I've done it myself. There is nothing you can do. And mother's milk, right, for the truth serum. But when it comes to Frost, and this gets back to Jason, that's why I wanted to talk about it with Jason again. The zero matter scares the bejeebies out of her. And this is somebody that wouldn't break for anyone. And the only one that would get information from her was Peggy, just because there was a sort of collegial sort of back and forth between the two, and it was a game that they were playing. But otherwise, she's a steel trap. When it comes to zero matter, she's like, oh, I'll tell you everything. I will give you anything I know. Just don't do that to me again.
I think that kind of drives the point home, like to everyone, like, oh yeah, zero matters bad, zero matters bad. Then we see this, and we're like, oh, that's when you realize, like, this completely unflappable person is absolutely terrified of having this hit her again. And you realize that Jason has been living with this the whole time.
The
It's
whole
like,
time.
yeah, I mean, no wonder he's so terrified of, like, he wants to be corporeal again so he doesn't have to deal with this. And then you wonder, like, what's in Whitney's mind that she is drawn to it and finds it fascinating instead of horrifying.
Yeah, there's a ton there, and we'll get to the rest of the Dottie story in a second, but let's finish up with Frost. So she reunites with her ex-boyfriend.
Who is a total tool.
Yeah, well.
He is, but he also knows his place. He's like, I like playing this off. But he knows he's not equal. He's like, okay, I know what you can do. We'll just run with it. So we'll see how that relationship goes on. I don't think that he's going to meet his end through Frost, but we'll see. He might try to double cross her. I don't think so, though.
I think he's just going to wear out his usefulness, and she's going to move on.
It's either going to be that, or he's going to be one of those people that just kind of manages to slip through the cracks. Like, there was a character on Boardwalk Empire that was just one of those people that, like, every season I'm like, how are you still alive? You're the most annoying person on the face of the earth. And they still managed to live to the last episode. And I have a feeling, because some people are just so annoying and slimy, that they just constantly manage to just get away.
Like Baltar on BSG.
I liked Baltar, though. But, no, it's either going to be he annoys her one too many times, and she squishes him like a bug, or he just consistently manages to just ooze his way through the situation and slips away into the night until he's eventually arrested by the FBI for, like, tax fraud or something.
Tax fraud. That's the
what
way
got
you
Al
handle it.
Capone.
Right. Okay, so Frost we've already know this. She's a scientific mind in her own right. Basically, Hedy Lamarr, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's that sort of thing going on. When she goes into Stark's lab and starts naming off things, that was pretty cool, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. I liked that.
Did you catch the Easter egg in there?
Yes.
Which was?
They're like, palladium core? And I was like, ah!
And Haley, what's the palladium core? Yeah, that's right.
I mean, I guess it could be the Stark. If they had named it a little bit differently, if they had decided to brand it more, it could have been the Stark reactor. I mean, I'm just saying.
They could have, but you'd still have Vanko that you have to throw in there.
Yeah, but they threw him out, so...
Yeah, well, I guess he's still in the country at this point. But with the Red Scare, chugging its way along, I mean, they got to kick him out pretty soon.
That's true. So the last thing I want to talk about with Frost is it's a trap. She sets a trap for Peggy, and oh my, that just turns bad.
Mm-hmm.
But it's well done. It's a well done trap. So Frost has got some criminal mind to her. It's not just that she's a loose cannon superpower. She's got some brains. She's got a plan, and she's going to execute it. So this is a dangerous combination. Haley, is there anything else you want to say about Whitney Frost?
I just can't wait for her to put on the mask.
It's coming. It's got to come soon because that thing's growing. Episode
Seriously,
by episode.
I mean that fascinator thing. I was like, that's a good use for it, because usually nowadays you really only see that with, like, gothic lowlies and steampunk. But
she's starting to wear veils, so yeah, we're getting closer to a mask.
We're getting closer to it.
Oh, and her acting at the press conference, like, oh, my husband, he's gone.
I lost at sea. I was looking to see, like, if there was any notable boat accidents off of Catalina Island in the 40s that they could have been referencing, and I couldn't find any.
Oh, there's probably a ton.
Well, yeah, there was a bunch, but I didn't see any, like, really notable names.
All right. Anything else on Frost before we move on? Because I know we want to talk about this next one.
Not yet. No.
Anna Jarvis.
Oh, I have so much to say about her.
Yeah.
Well, really, I guess I have three main things to say about her.
Okay.
Okay, the first one is we always see her as unflappable, but I think the reason that we see her as unflappable and saw her as maybe somebody who wouldn't, freak out in the face of danger was because she was the one who was at home holding down the fort. She's Jarvis's steadiness. She represents normality. And up until like all of this stuff with Peggy coming into his life and him having adventure and stuff, we get the sense that other than cleaning up after Howard's messes, Jarvis is kind of a sedate person. I mean, he bakes, he chases flamingos, he does all the stuff that keeps him kind of domestic. So that's what Anna's used to. And we see her being like, okay, he's going to go off, have some adventures, indulge himself, and she's, charmed by that. And the closer that it comes to her and the more she realizes what this means is it's the whole thing is if she represents home and domesticity and safety, all of this danger, it's hitting increasingly closer to home. It's hitting increasingly closer to the people that it shouldn't. And we think of Jarvis as, the person who, he's Peggy's friend, but he's not the action guy. He's the comic relief. He's the one who drives her around. He's the guy who bumbles around, says funny things. And Anna is, she's his wife. She's, the one who stays there with him. And then when she does try to make a stand and gets involved, when it actually does come into the home, we see how that ends. And now it's, yes, while the people that we love have been in danger this whole time, we've seen them in danger before. Danger is their job. Anna is an artist. She's a homemaker. She represents home and safety. Now there is no home or safety. It's been just completely blown apart.
Right. And okay, so I want to say some stuff too, but you have two other things to say about Anna, right?
I think I said all of them, and it was just a big jumbled up mess.
Oh, okay. Haley, do you have anything to say about Anna?
Just that it was a little bit telegraphed that something was going to happen to either her or Jarvis because of the conversation between them, and I actually thought it was going to be Jarvis.
Yeah.
I thought something terrible was going to happen.
Right.
And then it was her.
Right. So, I will agree with you. I had a little bit of she's not the steel trap we thought she was. She wasn't the pillar that we thought she was, but there's reason for that. So, you covered that, Lauren. The intruder alarm. She didn't respond to it at all. What's going on? And she was just like, be quiet.
I think what I gathered is that she thought it went off because it went off when she opened the wine cabinet.
Oh, so when she shut it again, it went back off.
Yeah.
So
that's what I gathered from the way that scene was shot.
So it's $1,000 bottle of wine in 1940 whatever, which is probably about, I don't know, $50,000 today.
Yeah.
And so she thought there was an alarm. Got it.
That's what I gathered.
But I would think that by installing whatever they did, that they would have told her since she was living there. Okay. I'll let that one roll off. And, of course, did we talk about it? She was shot by Frost.
Oh, man. And not even, to keep Anna especially out of her way. It's nothing about Anna. It's entirely to slow Peggy down. It
is. And Anna is the only one that saw Wilkes being kidnapped by Frost. So, and they're so consumed by her, getting her the medical treatment that she needs, that I don't think they know Wilkes is gone.
I don't think so either. I mean, probably, given that she was gut shot, I'm pretty sure they just grabbed her up and started driving to the nearest hospital. I don't think they went inside. It didn't look like Anna was conscious, so I don't think she could have told them anything. I mean, we'll see next episode, but I'm pretty sure they don't know.
think about it until Adana Girl tweeted, well, do they even know Wilkes is there? So good on you, Adana Girl, Christy, friend of the cast. And we appreciate that because I wasn't thinking that at all. I might have thought it on the second watch through, but I didn't have to because you pointed it out. So thank you very much. All right. We've been skirting around several characters. We're going to go through them one by one. Peggy Carter is the next one up. Of course, the main star of the show. She's got a lot of ins and outs throughout both episodes. Haley, what do you got?
Her American accent was amazing in this episode.
Drink.
There you go.
Everybody drink. What else? Of course everyone loves her. Of course. She should have like 12 love interests because she's amazing.
Again, she has chemistry with literally everyone on the show. Except maybe Kurtwood Smith because his character is terrible.
Yep. The worst.
So
Absolute worst.
she plays a psychologist, an American psychologist, to get to Dottie in order to get Dottie out because she's got this idea, which I'm sure we'll get the quote later from Haley. She's got this idea to actually use Dottie to go after Frost. And because they're cut off from everybody they trust, they have to go do this. And I thought it was rather convenient about Rose leaving. And I'm like, she should have been there, but okay.
I mean, I get that they had to find an excuse to bring Dottie in, but Rose conveniently left.
Right. And Edward the Monkey, by the way, Edward the Monkey is in the chat tonight. And Edward the Monkey said, I was kind of expecting, how does a monkey talk, by the way? Anyway,
Types. You've heard the 1,000 monkeys at 1,000 typewriters. I mean, this is the one that can type.
All right, so types, and I don't have to mimic the monkey, basically, as I'm talking.
I mean, you could if you want, but...
Okay.
Remind me after the show to tell Trunk Monkey stories, okay?
I love Trunk Monkey. Okay, I was kind of expecting to see Violet working at the hospital. That would have been awkward, but she has done an American accent in every episode this season. Okay, so what was the American accent in the second episode? Because in the first episode, it was when she went to go get Dottie. What was it in the second episode again? I don't remember.
I don't remember one in the second episode.
I didn't, and I rewatched, and I was really listening for it. So I think maybe the second episode might have been the break.
Yeah, by second episode we mean technically episode 7, but...
Fair enough. 6 and 7. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I thinking, and I can't remember an American accent there either.
Did you guys catch how she took care of the guard in front of Dottie's cell, by the way? It was with the sleeping lipstick.
Oh, I didn't get that. I was just like, he's unconscious, haha.
Yeah, but Dottie went out, and then the guard had lipstick on his lips.
Okay, what was Dottie going to do?
Probably kill him.
Okay.
Which is why Peggy knocked him out first so she wouldn't get the chance to.
That's right. And the Peggy double electrocutes Dottie.
That was... I love that she's like, the second time she's like, that one's for fun. That freaking net, I was laughing so hard.
It's like, you think this is going to stop me?
It's like, net. Big net. It reminded me, have y'all ever seen this movie, Kung Pao Enter the Fist? It came out in like 2000. There's this part where the main character, they throw a tiny net on him, and he's like, the net's about the size of a napkin. And he's like flailing around. And that's what it reminded me of, and I was laughing so hard.
So there was that. And then the Stitch, she can't go in to help, which is, I think, both a plot device and also gives, well, it's a plot device because it gave her time to talk to Sousa. But her stitches come out. And I'm like, ow. I've had stitches before, and I've had one come out, but the rest of them held. And it was like, that hurt.
Yeah, I really like that she doesn't have, I mean, I kind of wish she did have some like superhuman healing ability because maybe she could regenerate from whatever the senility that she has in the future, and then it'll be happily ever after, but I know that'll never happen. But I do like that, in a lot of movies and stuff, somebody will fall like 50 stories off a building, just stand up and walk away, and they're not a superhero or something. So I really like that we are seeing real consequences to her getting, rebar through the gut.
Impaled, and that it lasts. It's not like, she's hurt in one episode and in the next episode she's running up walls.
And another thing that I really appreciate, and actually Adonna Girl and I had a conversation about this on Twitter, is that there is a discussion about, between her and Daniel about disability and how it feels when, your body just craps out on you.
Right.
And this is, it felt good to see that acknowledged, especially regarding, Sousa with his, amputated leg saying like, yeah, I'm still learning to live with it. It's been, however long. And when your body does something that craps out on you, yeah, it's not an immediate acceptance process. Even if it's, you just hurt your arm or something, you might just keep forgetting about it and keep trying to do something and then just re-injure it. But when it's a longer term thing and it's learning to live with your new limits, and it's, there's a whole lot of like anger and stuff that goes into it. And I really like that they're covering it. He's not like the saintly disabled guy. He's a lot more realistic, and I really, really like that, and that he and Peggy had that discussion.
That's right. Before we get to the relationship issues, Peggy quits the SSR. Said, I'm done, when Thompson comes in. So she is no longer an employee of the SSR, which might be our avenue into S.H.I.E.L.D. soon. We'll see.
If the SSR keeps going the way it's going, yeah, I can see somebody deciding, let's shut these guys down, or let's start our own thing. Let's start our own thing with blackjack and hookers.
Sousa kind of did. He's like, fine, I'll start my own SSR on a beach with blackjack and hookers.
Yeah.
Edward the Monkey in the chat said, on Twitter, they said the net didn't work right on the set, so I guess Sousa had performance issues.
I saw that, and actually, Enver Jokai, I was back reading Twitter this morning, and he was tweeting along with the West Coast feed, and he was saying it was like an ad for like low testosterone or like Viagra or something.
That's right. Okay, so Sousa, Daniel, and Peggy almost kiss. They don't get all the way.
So close. They're like right here, and then
the dead body.
Dead body. It's a mood killer.
If I had a nickel,
you'd have 3 nickels.
3 nickels that you can prove.
Is this where the trunk monkey comes in? All right. So Wilkes and Jason and Peggy actually kiss. And do you think she was into it, or do you think she just let him had his celebration?
I mean, she looked into it.
I think she was into it.
All right. All right. So there's that kiss. And then, as you said, Haley Atwell has chemistry with everyone on the set. Everyone in the show, Agent Carter has chemistry with. But the most entertaining scenes are always the one with Jarvis.
Yes.
Like the blow dryer argument.
Oh, that was amazing. That was, I mean, again, it's like every episode we talk about this, but James Darcy and his comedic skills are just amazing. And I love that the official Agent Carter Twitter gifted that scene, because it's just him miming being stabbed and then taking a pill and then dying, and it just it's one of those things where you can get the gist of the conversation, but you don't care about actually figuring it out because it's just perfect. It is just perfect.
It definitely is.
And then of course their car ride conversation.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to. So he overhears the Sousa conversation in the van because he's on the radio. So does Dottie, by the way.
Yeah, because they totally did the thing where they didn't. Well, no, Dottie's turned off. She's taken off her transmitter hat.
Yeah, so she didn't. And then he sees the kiss with Wilkes, once Jason becomes corporeal again.
Corporeal.
He becomes solid
close.
again. Let's go there. Okay. So, and then he has the friend conversation, not like let's be friends, but he has a friend conversation. He sees her struggling, and she's like, okay, we need to talk about this on
I
their way
really
to do
love
the
Mama
mission.
Hen Jarvis.
Yeah. So, and then also, I'm going to steal one of your quotes, Haley.
No. Okay.
All right, I won't do it.
If it's in the second episode, I don't have it.
I don't. I think it was the first episode. Okay.
Just take it. Go for it. I've got plenty.
Well, so Peggy tells Jarvis, "Lucky he didn't pick up the clap." From it was in the second episode actually, because they were
Yeah.
talking about putting the radio back together. There you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So Daniel Souza, poor Daniel. Violet's dumped him, and I really would like to see her back because that just did not end well.
No. He gets his butt kicked because he's helping Peggy out. And then Kurtwood Smith, whose character name I can't remember because I keep thinking of him as Red Foreman.
Vernon Masters.
Vernon Masters. Thank you. Red Foreman is much catchier. But he threatens Souza for doing his damn job, basically. And, you know, he's sticking it out and trying to cover for Peggy, and just seriously, he doesn't get to kiss Peggy in the van because a dead guy falls on it, and just nothing is going right this week for him.
No, it's not. But we did get to see a little bit into his office, and I would love to see blow-ups of the pictures behind his desk on the credenza, behind the desk and stuff. I would love to, because that tells the Sousa story. And it was interesting because the dialogue in this episode was saying, I've had a story, I'm not looking to make more of it. And so there's this whole Sousa background that it's titillating. It's right underneath the surface, literally in this case, with the pictures right behind him. And you only get little snippets of where he served in World War II and kind of what his job was with the demolitions unit, stuff like that. So there's that. And you're right. He's got this whole thing with Vernon. Vernon's in his office. They're going back and forth. And Sousa's like, man, we'll do what we can.
Need to find those uranium rods. Should have come to me 48 hours ago. Yeah, well, we couldn't. Don't think I'll ever find him. That would be a pity. It isn't, whatever.
And then he gets himself beat up for it, too. Okay, we talked a little bit about Jarvis before. He had some spectacular scenes without Peggy Carter. He tells Thompson off. He tells Dottie off. It didn't really stick, but he tells her off, and they're like, ooh.
I loved, one of my favorite scenes is him trying to distract, what's his name, at that party, and him just coming in from the side like, okay, hold on, I'm going to do it it's a very visual thing, so if you want to see it, go find the video.
YouTube. Yeah.
He's like, coming in from the side like that.
Here, can you do it again, please? Because the camera went to me
Okay.
because I talked.
Okay.
That's awesome. So she literally came in from the side of the camera. It's awesome. Okay. Now, I'm going to talk about this. They bring out this sonic device. I call it the sonic claymore because it's like a claymore as they first, and then it turns
The jitterbug.
Yeah, there you go. The jitterbug.
Oh my god.
God, dude. Okay, so I noticed that he's typing in numbers, and there's like 2s and 4s and 3s. I recognize the 4s. He's typing in 4s. Okay, I don't know why I noticed. I just noticed. So then, when they're trying to set it off, he's like 32, 33, 32, 33, 33, 32, 30. It's not working. I'm like,
No, it's
"There's a
32,
four."
20, it was 33, 23, 33.
And there was no 4. I'm like, you got to press a 4, dude. You're doing the wrong code. And yeah, we figure out what that code was for.
Yeah, he was typing in Carol Lombard's measurements,
Nice.
which I looked up, and the ones on the website that I found for Carol Lombard are actually an inch off from that.
Okay.
And
Pretty close.
yeah, pretty close. What he wanted to type in was Barbara Stanwyck's measurements, I want to say.
That sounds right.
Yes. And I was going to look up why Carol Lombard would be the delayed.
Okay. So Jarvis had some interesting scenes all the way around, and of course he's dealing with his wife being shot at the end, and Mr. Stark's not around. So yeah, you got it.
Carol, no, I was just thinking Carol Lombard was born in the same city as one of our podcasters lives.
Nice.
Not one of y'all, but one of the podcasters on our network.
Oh, okay. So there's a lot of stuff going on with Jarvis, and this was an excellent episode, 2 episodes for James Darcy. Wouldn't you agree, Haley?
Yeah, all of the episodes are excellent episodes for James Darcy.
He's amazing. Okay, we're going to move on to Dottie, and she's got a lot of great quotes, and I'm going to leave them on the table for Haley. But she is playing around with Jarvis quite a bit. I think she likes playing with him, just like verbally and mentally, and so I don't think she ever wants to kill him. But it could happen, you know. She's one of those.
She's a cat, and everything is a mouse.
That's right.
Yes.
She had nice fighting scenes, but this was after she stowed away in the secret Empire council room.
Mm-hmm.
So she saw her hand go through Wilkes. She saw what happens with the Zero Matter, and she's on the loose right now. So what do you think she's going to do?
I honestly don't know. Because on the one hand, apparently Leviathan's mad at her.
And that was brought up. That
yeah.
was brought up again in this episode.
Yeah. And I don't know. I honestly have no idea what she's going to do. Like this could go any way. This really could go any way.
We're definitely going to see her again. I think she's going to case out the situation. She might be the one that rescues Wilkes because she knows how important that he is. So we'll see. We'll stand by on that.
Yeah, like seriously, does she want to get in and be on the side of that power? Does she decide that it's too dangerous and help destroy it? Does she join up with Peggy because she's still weirdly obsessed with her? Does she try to get back in with Leviathan? Does she just disappear, and live her own life? I mean, I have no idea what she's going to do. There's two observations about her. One, she reminds me just right now, character-wise, of Asajj Ventress from Star Wars in terms of being cut loose and very dangerous. If you ever watch Clone Wars, the comparison's kind of there. And two, the dress that she was wearing, and I brought this up on Twitter, the look of it and everything, and the color, definitely a call back to Black Widow with the black and red. And the cut of it and all that was kind of similar to a bunch of the dresses that Natasha Romanoff wore in her first appearances as the Black Widow in early Marvel comics.
Yes.
When she would just wear fancy dresses and show up places.
Right.
Her character is very much like the early Black Widow character because Natasha Romanoff shows up, she's a Russian spy, and she's going after Tony Stark's secret business plans. And we kind of skipped over when that would have happened with the Natasha Romanoff in the movies. So it's cool to see them, repurposing some of that story onto Dottie.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So Dottie continues to be a great character. I'm glad we got to see her. I'm glad we got to see Anna. I'm not glad that she got shot. And we'll see when Angie comes back, which it better be next week. Hopefully. Okay, Thompson. Just so easy to manipulate. Yeah, I know he's a jerk. And
I really want to believe that there's more to this than just he's an egotistical jerk who's easily manipulated, but I really don't think there is.
Nope.
I almost felt like, I guess it was like 3 episodes now, he saw that newspaper headline and he didn't believe it, and then he saw it actually happen later and he did believe it. I almost want to believe that he's playing the role of a double agent right now and he's trying to get intel. but he's also so opportunistic that you can believe that he would just be out for himself.
If that was the case, I don't think he would have gone to Peggy and done what he did, basically give her the ultimatum and making her quit. Although maybe
Unless
that's
he was
part of the
trying to
plan.
protect her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do feel like he was trying to protect her, like trying to, because yeah, he is trying to warn her off. It's really clear. But I don't know. I do know this. I don't like Thompson.
Right.
But
So I'm
everything
the
else
guy
is
that thinks
right.
I'm the guy that thinks anybody is a double agent. I did not consider again that Thompson was a double agent. I think I mentioned that in season 1 or whatever, but I didn't take it this. So we'll see. We've got 3 episodes left this season. All right. The last character that we're going to talk about today that I've got on my list anyway is Vernon Masters, Kurtwood Smith, Red Foreman, dumbass.
What a d-bag.
And so he tries to interrogate Dottie, and instead Dottie just terrifies him. Much more than Thompson, by the way. Maybe that's just because Thompson is such a dunce when he tried to do it. But Vernon Masters really did not like Dottie.
Yeah. No, really, you're so close to start. I promise. Seriously, I love Dottie. But yeah, no, so smarmy.
Now that he's got the SSR, he's going to be going after Peggy and Stark and Jarvis pretty hard. Again, he wants the nuclear weapon because that's what Frost wants. So, where do you think they stored it?
In their nuclear vessels.
Well, Stark's got vaults all over the place, right?
It's probably in a basement somewhere.
They
Or like
put it
the
in a
spare
box.
bedroom.
A bomb in a box. All right.
What's the box gonna do?
It was the quote that he had telling Thompson what to do. I don't want you to kill her. That's off the table. I want you to destroy the very idea of her. I want you to discredit her. I want you to disgrace her, subdue her ability to do anything. Like, this guy can manipulate. I mean, I'll give him that. He's not a stupid villain.
No, and I think that's even more reason not to like him because, I mean, Whitney is a smart villain, but she's a smart villain with motivations that we can relate to. Vernon Masters is smug and, so far as we can tell, hoarding power just to hold power. He's like the embodiment of the man. And as we all know from Empire Records, damn the man.
Yeah, because we've all seen Empire Records. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, even I've seen it, dude. So come on.
It's not on my list. Sorry.
Oh my god!
Oh, but it should be. It is so good.
I love that movie so much. It's so good.
All right, I'll consider it, but I got a lot of movies. I got to see Jurassic World first. Okay.
Okay.
No, you don't.
Okay.
The dinosaurs.
So, anything else from the episode, Lauren?
I am vaguely angry that Bernard Stark didn't run in and attack anyone.
That's true. He could have. Well.
No, that's just a sign that he's evil.
With a vile temperament.
Yes, it's a sign that he's evil. He let them in.
That's right. He let Frost in. And the ex.
Yes.
What's the ex's name? I can't remember.
I keep thinking of him as just
He's
Ken
totally
Marino.
crazy.
He sounds like a 20s gangster.
Well, yes.
I don't remember the name, though.
Yeah. I just keep thinking of him as the actor's name, but I can't remember the actual... Manfredi.
There you go.
Okay. So, Lauren, anything else before we turn it over to Haley?
No.
Okay. Haley, floor is yours.
Okay. I don't have a ton of quotes, because I wasn't able to get quotes from the second episode. But I have a terrible idea.
Yes. I stayed away from that because I knew you were going to use it. I have a terrible idea. Oh, that was so terrible.
The way she said it was great, too.
Yes.
Then we're in agreement. You will help me get what I need, and then I'll lock you back up in the cell.
Right. We all knew that wasn't going to happen.
Oh, Peggy, you're no fun at all.
It's true.
If I give you a gun, she's only going to take it from you.
That whole scene with her just having stole Jarvis's wallet. I mean, not wallet, watch.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about the watch.
Like, oh, I
Where's
want
your
to watch. I want
wristwatch?
my. Hey.
She's tied to the hairdresser chair, and she steals the watch.
That's how Dottie rolls.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it's like almost like she did it just to prove Peggy's point for her, too.
Right.
Pretty much. I also liked in the second episode, where are my formal cufflinks?
They're gone. Yeah. Anything else, Haley?
Nope, that's all I managed to get.
All right. A lot of great quotes. It's a cube. Try to keep up.
Oh yeah,
That whole scene was so good.
How
those two.
naughty. That was my favorite.
Bridget Regan is so good as Dottie.
Yeah, that was great. All right. So that's it for this week. We have another double episode of Peggy Carter, of Agent Carter next week. We're going to be talking exclusively Agent Carter next week. 2 whole episodes. It'll be episode 8 and 9. So hold on your hats and enjoy the season because, as we discussed last week, it might be the last. So at least for now.
Dun, dun, dun.
I know. We'll talk about it a little bit more later. But anyway, so enjoy it while you got it. Wonderful, funny, entertaining. It keeps me in there, which is saying something, especially after Flash this week and last week. Watching Agent Carter afterwards and still being in the zone. That says a lot to Agent Carter. Okay, so just a little reminder, we have a spin-off podcast, daughter podcast, Spawn podcast. I'm just going to call it spin-off podcast called Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. Longbox Edition. And by the time this podcast is out, the next Longbox Edition will be out. It's not, if you're listening live, it's not out tonight. It will be out in a couple of days. The Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. Longbox Edition for February, we'll call it February 17th, even though it'll be released in a couple of days. Adam talks about the novel Black Widow Forever Red, which is very interesting, by the way, and Adam had to divert because of reasons that he'll discuss in a segment, but he will get to the S.H.I.E.L.D. segment next week. And then Lauren talked about, Lauren, you want to tease a little bit?
I talked about All New Wolverine number 5, All New X-Men number 4, and Old Man Logan number 2, and enjoyed all 3 of them.
Yeah, it's a really cool segment, and then Neil will be delivering his mighty Marvel moment as well. Are you ladies ready to get on to the news?
Yep.
Let's do it.
All right, I'm going to start off. I don't have actual numbers in front of me, but last week we said we would get the Agent Carter ratings to you, and I did take a look at them, and they are low. So I compared them to Supergirl. So Supergirl is like 6, 7, 8 ratings million, which is, it's on the low part, but it's still good for a primetime show. Agent Carter is in the 2s and 3s this year. So that is grounds for a major network to pull the plug, even if it is the network's like show. Like in this case, it's a Marvel show which is owned by Disney, and Disney owns ABC, so it's like, guys, we got to have this show on. At 2, it's not really marketable. It's not really sustainable for a major network. It'd be good ratings for CW, but it is not good ratings for ABC. So I do anticipate, as we discussed last week, for Agent Carter to be canceled at the end of this year. We talked about Haley Atwell being cast in the pilot. There is a possibility still, this is not a for sure thing, there is a possibility of Haley Atwell doing both shows, since both would be like half orders. If the pilot does get picked up and it's a 13-episode season, she could still do this for a 10-episode run or less for the hiatus next year as well. But there is rationale for it, people. The ratings for Agent Carter are really low. So if you want to keep it, get all your friends to go out and watch it on as many TVs simultaneously as they can. That's all I got to say.
The only circumstances under which I will accept this is if they fold the characters into the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. storyline and have like a couple of flashback episodes a year.
That'd be great, except for if Haley Atwell is doing another series, getting her time is going to be very difficult.
That's why I said 1 or 2 episodes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd be cool with it if they managed to wrap this season in a satisfactory manner, like giving all the characters like, hey, we're starting up S.H.I.E.L.D. So and so is joining S.H.I.E.L.D. and so is joining S.H.I.E.L.D. and this person died in a fire.
I feel like last season's finale they wrapped in such a way that it could have been a series finale.
I think it was supposed to be a one and done, but last year, okay, so the ratings this year were pretty much not great. Last year they were sustainable. They were in the 4s and 5s and 6s last year. And I think ABC, Marvel, and Disney were expecting the same numbers this year, but Chris Farrell on Nerd Alert News said something very interesting. This is episode 22, so go check it out. He said that the fact that the show was not available to stream in the off season, it was on Netflix for a very short time, but you can't get it anywhere. And I've said this before with other shows, and I know it's a monetary thing. I get it, but if you're trying to build an audience or at least maintain an audience, you got to make that stuff available. And
even the DVDs were an Amazon exclusive.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You couldn't go to Target and get them. You couldn't go to Walmart and get them.
So I'm not surprised. This was kind of a money-making thing for them that really failed miserably, and I hope other people take note. I know, like, CBS is only streaming Supergirl on the CBS stream, whatever it's called, CBS Live or whatever. I just want these networks to understand that they can kill a show by doing that.
Yeah. Also, you've got to remember that at the beginning of the season, they moved the premiere date. That didn't help.
That's true.
Yeah.
And it was
Thanks,
against
Obama.
And again, as Chris pointed out in Nerd Alert News, it was against all new content on the CW network because they were doing the League, Justice League Begins or whatever that was. I did catch that. I didn't care for it very much, but
I didn't watch it.
Yeah, it's really not worth your time. It was just hyping up the movies Suicide Squad and Batman vs Superman, which at the time was all new footage, but it's all on YouTube now, so whatever.
Yeah. And the other thing is, because of the State of the Union, it had to start later. So not only did it get moved, but it was also starting later. So last year it was in a time when there was really nothing on.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now
so now we're starting. All the shows are coming back, so it's competing against, bigger horses.
Right. So we'll see if it gets a third season or not. I don't know at this point in time. A lot of people are saying no way, especially with what's happening with Haley Atwell and the ratings. We'll see. They might give it a pass this year because of the election, because of everything. I honestly don't know. I don't think.
I feel like this year's season was a gift, and I don't know that we'll get another one.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad that we got the second season at all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd like more, but if all we have is these 2 seasons, at least we got these 2 seasons, and they were both great.
Yeah. So if they have a story to fill out, I like your idea of the flashbacks. They might do a little mini-series in the off-season, like 4 episodes or something like that next year. Well, I don't know. No idea, just wild speculation, so we'll see how that goes. So talking about a show that is definitely coming back, at least for the second half of the season, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. dropped their second half promo, didn't they?
Yes, they did. They aired the commercial yesterday during Agent Carter. Now it's up on YouTube, and it looks pretty wild. The most notable thing in there for me was Ward sitting on a table, shirt off. Remember how we were joking, like, no more shirtless scenes for Ward? Well, guess what?
Now that he's a rotting corpse, we get a shirtless scene?
It's pretty gruesome.
It is not a shirtless scene you want to see.
I mean, it is.
I feel like we need to,
with like the handprint squished in.
We need to have a conversation with Marvel. Like, yes, we asked for shirtless scenes. We should have been more specific.
Yeah, it's like the monkey's paw here. We need to another finger curls up.
Oozing gut wounds and caved-in sternums is not what we meant.
And again, Marvel, these ladies are available for your production, for your writing. They come in a pair, and they are available for you. Okay, Doctor Strange and Beyond is the segment that we have, and because it's Beyond Doctor Strange, we're going to be talking about a little bit about Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Okay, so this is just posted today. James Gunn announced on his official Facebook page that official photography for Guardians of the Galaxy 2 has started.
Woohoo!
So, including new cast members and a couple of new roles announced. New cast members, Pom Klementieff, Elizabeth Debicki, Chris Sullivan, who fans of the Nick will know as Cleary, and I'm very happy about that, and Kurt Russell. So, we're all really sure, at least those of us who are kind of poking around, we're all really sure that Kurt Russell's probably going to be playing Star-Lord's dad. I mean, he might not. But, I mean, it kind of feels right, you know?
Deuce.
Just a bit.
And Pom Klementieff, it was announced, and I've been very vocal about this in the past, about hoping for this character. And now it's happening. She's going to be playing Mantis. And I am so thrilled about this. Mantis is a telepathic alien bug lady, and she's amazing. She does like martial arts, and she's so cool. And also the picture for the announcement is pretty great. It's them in profile, and then there's a tiny little Groot on Drax's shoulder. Groot has legs again.
Yay!
Groot. We are Groot. Okay, and then the second story here we have a diversity discussion.
Yeah, so Chiwetel Ejiofor talking about Doctor Strange and working in Marvel and just diversity in film, diversity in Marvel. It's a nice little interview. It's about 2 minutes long, I guess. And yeah, just go watch it, check out what he has to say, talking about his character Baron Mordo, talking about what it's like working for Marvel. I mean, it was a pretty good little interview.
Cool. So go check that out.
Yeah, I can't wait to see him on. I mean, I love like pretty much everything he's in. He's a good actor.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really looking forward to seeing what he brings to Doctor Strange.
Yeah, and all these stories again will be in the show notes, so we'll click on them if you haven't already. Okay, moving on to the success story of the week. We're going to be talking about Deadpool. By the way, it's not a new story that we have here, but Deadpool just rocked the box office. It got $135 million over the weekend, which for a rated R movie is amazing. It blew
I
all
think
the
it's
records.
number one, yeah. It's also like the 6th highest comic book movie ever or something like that.
I didn't hear that. That's amazing.
So on GonnaGeek, we ran over a picture of all of the shows that it outdid: Iron Man, Hulk, Captain America. There are 8 movies that 8 high-profile movies. Batman, I think it was Batman Begins. There are 8 movies that it just blew away, double or more of the box office in a lot of cases. There were a couple that came close, but it actually just blew them away. So Deadpool, big success. If you haven't seen it already, go see it. We will be talking about it in a couple of weeks.
Do not bring your kids.
Actually, we will be talking about it this Sunday.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if
Sunday.
And if Blab is working, we're going to be good. Now, is it 8 o'clock Central or 8 o'clock Eastern?
8 o'clock Central, because if it's 7 o'clock Central, I am going to be here in my PJs and I'm
wait,
going to be
I think I did time zones backwards. It's 9 Central.
10 Eastern.
10 Eastern.
Okay.
Oh!
Yay!
9 Central,
cool.
10 Eastern.
Okay, then
So
I can...
We will be talking about
Let me
it
fix my alarm.
right before All Things Good and Nerdy talks about it. So you get back-to-back spoiler-filled Deadpool episodes. So there you go.
You want Deadpool discussion? Here's your Deadpool discussion.
Geeks.live, Sunday morning, 10 a.m. on Eastern Time. Okay. Anyway, Deadpool. This was great. I saw a little bit of this. I didn't see the whole thing. But Ryan Reynolds interviewed Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, so Hugh Jackman's promoting his movie Eddie the Eagle, and Ryan Reynolds is promoting Deadpool. And together, they were both in Wolverine Origins, which was less than well received. So Ryan Reynolds went and interviewed Hugh Jackman, and it was about 50% making fun of Wolverine Origins,
As
Like,
was
so
Deadpool,
did you
so.
sew Eddie the Eagle's mouth shut and make him fire laser beams out of his eyes? Didn't test well with the audiences when you did that? Just stuff like that. It was.
And it's also
Did
not
you
included.
did you wear lifts when you were on? Is it true that you wore lifts on X-Men Origins Wolverine to look like you were taller than one of the characters?
Yeah, so funny. Go click on it. Go watch it if you haven't already.
It's worth it. They're hilarious.
And
Oh.
it's not. Yeah, Haley.
I was just gonna say real quick. This isn't exactly related, but back when Ryan Reynolds was doing promotion for Origins Wolverine, he was on the Ellen DeGeneres show, and she was talking about how he was in really good shape, and she brought up the picture of the cast, and he was like, "Yeah, I was in good shape, but look at Hugh Jackman. There's a level of in shape you should only be if you're gonna wear a necklace made of ears."
Hugh Jackman has been consistently at that level in the X-Men movies like for a while now.
Yep, since the third one probably.
Man is a machine. Okay, it's not on the list, but it's something we need to talk about along these lines. Is because this is exactly the I think the stupidity in the conversation here. But Fox came out and said, "Yeah, Wolverine 3 might very well be rated R."
I heard about that.
The second one was too, wasn't it? Or there was an R-rated version.
I think there was an R-rated version.
There was an unrated cut. That's right. That's right.
But it was when it was released, it was PG-13.
I don't think it's going to work. First of all, there's a little Wolverine fatigue anyway, but
Wolverine solo movies haven't done particularly well.
So maybe they're thinking, what harm could it do, whatever, but I just, I'm not a fan.
You know, it's the last one. Let him do what he wants.
Fair enough. I'm just not a fan of the R-rated comic book movie when you're trying to...
If they would work Wolverine into it and make it like an X-Force movie, I could see it being rated R and doing pretty well.
There was talk about X-Force being rated R as well, but...
Yeah, I know they want to do an X-Force movie. And if Wolverine forming X-Force is Wolverine 3, I mean, I'm all for it.
Right. So the thing that I need to caution the industry on, like they're going to listen to me, is that I understand where you want to go, and in some cases, like the Deadpool movie, Deadpool is rated R. You know, if you read the comics, this is straight out of the comics. However, you're trying to get the next generation of fan involved, right? So you need to cater to kids from that perspective. So I don't want all the comic book movies to be rated R. We still need the PG-13 movies in the comic book era, and I just caution everybody: don't everybody go rated R, because
it's like you don't need a rated R like Winnie the Pooh. There's some properties that lend themselves really well to having rated R, like Preacher or Deadpool or like X-Force, something like that. If if the Authority ever got made into a movie, I mean that's like an R right there. But then at the same time, if you wanted, like X-Men works perfectly well as a PG-13 movie. It's much more of an slightly older to all ages thing.
Yep. Okay, so what is this? Too expensive to include Deadpool?
Yeah, so actually Deadpool, there was a bunch of stuff that was cut from Deadpool at the last minute. Like their budget got slashed at the very last second, basically. So a bunch of stuff got cut, and IO9 has a list of some of the stuff. And what I really, the one that I really wanted to see was Patch, who's a bartender who hands out mercenary assignments at the Hell House bar, which they, instead of doing that, they put T.J. Miller as Weasel in there, because they would have had to, spoilers for very old comics, bring in Wolverine and put him in an eye patch to do so. And then there's mostly a bunch of characters. They were originally going to use Cannonball instead of Negasonic Teenage Warhead. But even though I'm always, complaining, this isn't like the comics, and Negasonic Teenage Warhead in the comics was a psychic who died on Genosha, I really like what they did with her in the movie, so I can't complain too much.
Mhm.
And yeah, if they had done Cannonball, they would have made him like the dumb hick kid. And yeah, there was just a bunch of stuff. Some of it is funny, some of it is just, comic stuff, and a lot of it seems to be stuff that was cut for time. But overall, I think the movie worked really well as it did. So for what they did on the budget they had, I mean, good job. Good job, Tim Miller. Good job, Fox.
Awesome. Okay, what's this about the demo reel?
Okay, so Tim Miller, the director of Deadpool, helped out, him and Blur Studios helped out Marvel years and years and years ago. So way back in the day, well, a few years ago, they did a demo reel for Deadpool that helped, get the movie made. And they also did it back in 2006. They did a little kind of proof of concept thing to try to get Iron Man made. So Joe Quesada posted the videos on Tumblr recently, and there's three. It's a link of three, short videos, and they all link together into one longer video. Like they flow into each other. Because at this time in 2006, I mean, Iron Man was not an A-list hero. So they have him teaming up with Spider-Man and the Hulk here. It's mostly showing off Iron Man, but it intros with Spider-Man, and the Hulk shows up in the last one. And they, took it to a studio and were like, hey, see how this works? Fund us. And it worked really well, so it funded them. And so, yeah, now you can see it, and this is what Tim Miller did to help Marvel become what it is today. And now he
Awesome.
made Deadpool, and things are great.
He made Deadpool for Fox, which is a Marvel comic, but he made it for Fox. Just
Yes.
be clear about that. All right. Any other news this week, ladies? Nope. Okay.
I don't think so.
I teased it before, talked a little bit about it, actually, but if you like this sort of content, go to the GonnaGeek.com website. You will find a lot of great podcasts there, including Nerd Alert News. Episode 22 dropped this weekend, and Chris Farrell, it's a solo podcast for him. He does a wonderful job, by the way, and it is all the geek news that you need in about 20 minutes for the week. And in this episode, he talked about the death of Mozilla's Firefox OS for phones, Google's attempts to safeguard users of the internet, which is interesting considering recent news that has dropped just today about Apple, by the way, and I won't spoil that for you. Go check episode 23 out probably for that. And rumors regarding the return of Deathstroke to Arrow, the possible cancellation of Marvel's Agent Carter, which we talked about earlier, and the feature story this week is all about Deadpool. So go check that out. Once again, that's Nerd Alert News number 22. We had a lot of great feedback this week, a lot in the Twitter sphere. So Richard at Kodiak GWC, a longtime listener and fan of the cast, friend of the cast as well, said, in case you haven't seen this already, Haley Atwell's got a new job. So thank you very much. We did see that. And once again, right now it is just a pilot, but we'll see where that goes. And then Richard also forwarded us the Punisher in the new Daredevil Season 2 trailer, which we didn't talk about, but I left it in here. The Daredevil Season 2 trailer is out. Thank you very much, Richard. And if you haven't seen that yet, go ahead, get in the show notes, and we will show that to you. Haley, have you seen the Daredevil Season 2 trailer?
Not yet. I've been a little bit busy.
Right. Hey, Lauren, have you seen it?
I can't remember if I've seen this version.
All right.
It's been kind of a blur the past couple days.
So everybody is just gagging over the Punisher. If you haven't seen it, go see that. And then Mr. Pericles tweeted us, and he said, okay, I hope this clears up some confusion. So there's been a lot of talk about Harrison Ford and Han Solo, and I won't spoil anything, but if you need to know about what happened to Han Solo in Episode 7, go read this tweet, go click on this news story. You will find out what's going on there. It's not like a major spoiler, but it does deal with episode 8, so just hang in there on that. Okay, Richard tweeted us and he said, "Hey guys, when are you going to talk about Deadpool? I really want to talk about Deadpool. When are you guys going to talk about Deadpool? Come on guys, I want you to talk about Deadpool. When are you going to talk about Deadpool?" Richard, we've got it. It's this Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central. It will be on geeks.live. Hopefully Blab will be fixed by then, but if not, just go to geeks.live. We will always be found at geeks.live.
Where?
Geeks.live. All right, Added Donna Girl tweeted us, and she said, a moment of silence for all the rats that were absorbed by Whitney Frost during the show. Okay, train moment's over. So, yes, thank you very much, Donna Girl. And then she also tweeted, which got retweeted all over the place, by the way, that at Reggie_Austin got a wardrobe change.
Yes. Which we discussed.
Yes. So she got picked up really big on that. Okay. And then Donna Girl retweeted something to us, so I just want to say it. What? Is he constructing a palladium core? I think Tony Stark's going to need those blueprints. Yeah. We talked about that
a little
earlier.
bit.
Yep. And last but not least, Richard at Kodiak GWC tweeted us the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. mid-season premiere promo. So thank you very much, sir, on that. Before we leave the feedback section, I want to talk a little bit about Facebook. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 principal photography started. We posted it on our Facebook page. I almost said webpage. We posted it on our Facebook page, and we asked, what do y'all think? Well, Richard came back and said, this really can't come out fast enough. No, it can't.
I'm so excited.
Yep. It is number 4 on my list of exciting upcoming comic book movies. So it's actually pretty good considering everything, because we got Civil War and we got X-Men, stuff like that coming out.
Yeah,
So
they have officially added Mantis. My excitement has doubled now.
Our emails are open. You can always catch me, Stargate Pioneer at GonnaGeek.com. And we do still have Andy's email on Jessica Jones episode 6, so keep tight there, Andy. We will get to that eventually. Haley, you were not with us last week. Is there anything you want to say about the episodes last week, the Agent Carter episodes last week, or the Agent Carter and the Jessica Jones episodes last week?
No, because I do not remember any specific details about them.
Okay, if you do, feel free to come back next episode and let us know. All right, that is it for the feedback. Woohoo! We made it to the end of the podcast!
Yay!
Yay! Okay, join us this weekend as we discuss Deadpool. We said it before, we'll say it again. 10 a.m. Eastern, Geeks.live, 8 a.m. Central.
9 a.m. Central.
8 a.m. Mountain.
8 a.m. Mountain, yes.
There you go. I stand corrected. Okay, so joining us this weekend, we will discuss it, which means I have to go out and see the movie.
And there won't be any quotes because we do a clean podcast.
I mean, I guess we can do quotes, but if you pause and then I could have a sound effect board or something to play.
I'll get a kazoo or something.
Yay! Oh my God, we should do that. It would be actually kind of perfect.
And talking about time zones, Richard's in the chat and he said, this was great. I got to see you guys live and watch Rebels. So there you go. You can thank Blab for being down for that. Yeah. So we have a website. It is legendsofshield.com. It can be found at the GonnaGeek.com website. We have a voicemail line, 844-THE-BUS-1. That is 844-843-2871. We have a Facebook page, Tumblr page, and Twitter page. Just search for Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. You will find us. We have a YouTube channel, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. I will eventually be posting all the back content there, but if you want the current stuff, go to the GonnaGeek YouTube channel. And the forums, don't forget, we have them also available if you so choose to want them at the GonnaGeek.com website. Don't forget, I will be at C2E2 with 4 or 5 of our co-hosts on the GonnaGeek Network in Chicago on the 18th of March at 2:45 p.m. Next on Geeks.live will be Starling Tribune. That is tomorrow night at 9 p.m. We will be talking about the Arrow episode, which I caught about 20 minutes of before we started tonight, and it looked like a good one. So I can't wait to watch the rest of that and then podcast about Arrow tomorrow night on the Starling Tribune with Chris and with Neil. I just want to say thank you very much to everybody that came to Geeks Out Live to watch us via YouTube and on Spreaker. You guys have been great in the chat room. I want to say that. Thank you very much. It means a lot to us that you followed us through this maze of websites being down and everything. I do appreciate it, and I speak for all of us on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. I really appreciate that as well.
And thank you again to everybody who follows us on Twitter, everybody who follows along with live tweets, everybody who sends us comments during the week, everybody who sends us news stories. We appreciate it so much. And yeah, just every little bit of communication that we get from you guys is just fantastic and makes our day.
And don't forget Guardians of the Galaxy crate giveaway. So as you're crafting your brilliant feedback to include, remember to craft an awesome animal to include in Howard Stark's menagerie and tell us all about it.
We can't wait to hear what you have for us. So, until next time, I'm Agent Stargate Pioneer.
I'm Agent Haley.
And I'm Agent Lauren.
We'll see you guys Sunday. Bye!
Bye!
Thank you for listening. If you want to leave us feedback, go to GonnaGeek.com and you will find all of our contact information and other shows. You can also visit legendsofshield.com where you'll find our complete archive of podcasts. The music heard on this podcast is by Kevin MacLeod and can be found at incompetech.com. The opinions heard on this podcast are those of the individual host and do not represent Legends, Stream, or GonnaGeek. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the property of the Disney Corporation. No infringement is intended.